Kazim Amir Karishan from Gulhain Medical Journal states, it has been shown that countries consuming the highest amount of caffeine have the highest incidence of both osteoporosis and hip fractures worldwide. These severe health issues contributed to the human body by an overconsumed stimulant. The fourth most widely used drug blocks inhibiting brain juice while continuing to increase dopamine. Caffeine engages the central nervous system by causing an artificial increase in alertness, and it has become a desired substance to consume as a student, adult, or athlete. From serving as a temporary burst of energy, from a mug of coffee or tea to sodas and energy drinks, this regularly demanded ingredient has proven to have pros and outweighing cons towards the human body as shown above. This leads into the research question of how caffeine has negatively impacted teen bodies within the past 20 years. Since caffeine has been popularized to be a morning energizer, its high consumption rate has become a rising issue to teens within the last 20 years. Increasing alternative health concerns, affecting sleep schedules, and ruining attentive behaviors are all various examples of the unfavorable effects caffeine can have on teen Americans. To kick us off, the consumption of caffeinated refreshments can increase an alternate health concern. Not focusing on the physical side of the human body, caffeine has become a main root of mental disorders instead. Researchers believe that adolescents and young adults diagnosed with OCD who have previously used stimulants are more likely to develop bipolar disorder. Symptoms of OCD accompany several disorders. Obsessive compulsion can accompany brain injury and drug toxicity. The following statement by Ruth Wallen proves a common path taken involuntarily as a result of consumption. People who regularly consume caffeine have higher chances of facing anxiety, as shown above, OCD. The following graph represents health-based side effects of teen boys versus girls to caffeinated beverages. Insomnia and headaches are popularized on this chart towards the leading side effects. With an average of 45 out of 50 participants facing insomnia due to the stimulant, and an average of 36 to 50 participants facing painful headaches. For dopamine rush and slight performance increase, some may ask if these alternatives are even worth it. Furthermore, sleep schedules are highly affected by the ingredient of caffeine. Not being able to fall asleep at night is a main concern considering the negative impacts of this stimulant. A study of 100 U.S. adolescents aged 12 to 18 found that 73% consumed 100 milligrams or more of caffeine per day, with most consumption in the evening, the time of day most likely to negatively affect sleep. Poor sleep quality and quantity in adolescents has been associated with mood disorders, exacerbation of asthma, obesity, lower sense of well-being, and poor school performance. Eat, sleep, and exercise. 3 crucial steps in an everyday routine that are necessary to a teen while they are still in the developing phases of their life. Consumption of caffeine in the evening hours makes it difficult to maintain these 3 steps to their full potential, while even affecting other variables such as performance, health, and attitude. The graph above from the Department of Nursing School displays a number of variables contributing to the quality of sleep that participants are receiving. While course workload is a main contribution, as shown right here, it poorly affects sleep quality at over 60%. And caffeine is in a close second place, right here, with a little over 30%. After consuming a caffeinated beverage, the release of adrenaline throughout your body will set off a fight or flight reaction. It allows your emotions to control your upcoming instincts and cause distraction. This leads into the next point of having your attentive behaviors altered. Ongoing caffeine and anaphylaxis encourages a person to repeat thoughts. An overly stimulated, poisoned brain generates thoughts of small dilemmas, generally not catastrophic. revolving repetitively in the mind. While adrenaline runs through your body while consuming this beverage, it stimulates your brain with intensity. The common reason for drinking caffeine in the first place is to increase alertness and maybe brighten a mood. However, it doesn't just make your physical body overly hyper, but increases the speed of thinking in your brain, causing common distractions and repetitive thoughts. The chemical reactions of caffeine, anaphylactic, masking allergic symptoms and brain poisoning, prevent a caffeine allergic person from recognizing symptoms of caffeine anaphylaxis, and memory impairment prevents the ability to recognize repetition. Persons with prefrontal cortex damage focus on the immediate. While altering these behaviors as a result, caffeine consumption, repetition is occurring in the brain and it's unrecognizable. It poisons your brain into contemplating whether or not you're allergic to the ingredient. Not only have the attentive behaviors become diminished, but also so is your memory. Moving on to the problems and solutions. The overall problem is overconsumption of caffeine. Overconsumption of caffeinated beverages lead to negative impacts on the human body of teens within the last 20 years. It affects your growth, etc. Solution: preventing adolescents from being able to purchase caffeine if under the age of 20. This will prevent growth problems and the problems stated before. Decreasing the amount of caffeine in everyday beverages and informing people on the drinks they're putting in their bodies and what it can do to them will also help. To conclude, since caffeine has been popularized to be a morning energizer, its high consumption rate has become a rising issue to teens within the last 20 years as well. Increasing alternative health concerns, affecting your sleep schedule, and ruining intensive behaviors are all various examples of the unfavorable effects caffeine has on teen Americans. These are my sources. Thank you. Any questions?
All right, 2 questions. First up, how did your research question evolve as you moved through the process?
My research question evolved because there were so many different reasons I could say for why caffeine has become such a problem to teens as they grow up, specifically within the last 20 years. But I was looking more towards maybe how it leads to obesity or how it leads to mental health, etc.
Okay, and what additional questions popped up as you were going through the research?
Additional questions that popped up were foods that included caffeine, because as I've stated mostly in this presentation, there have been a lot of beverage-contained caffeine items, but it's included in solids as well.